Superhero fatigue is not real. I'm just going to pause right now to let the cinephiles in the comments go write out an entire book on why it is real and point me towards videos talking about comic book films and superhero films, because that's what they all do. An entire website's still operating 24/7 to cover this stuff. Much like we are. So let's talk about why it's not real. Revisionist history is the worst part of fan discourse, because people will quickly ignore what they said before and what they thought and use revisionist history to tell you that things were always a certain way. And the further we get away from the time frame and time period that they're talking about, the more this becomes prevalent. So I present to you superhero fatigue. So yeah, in the last, let's say, 3 years, maybe up to 4 years, we've had a lot of misses. From Black Adam to Shazam, to Blue Beetle, to the Marvels, to the recent Hellboy reboot, whenever that was, but I don't know who was looking forward to that. And of course, one of the biggest bombs, Morbius. But at the same time, people forget we also had Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, The Batman. Despite what we think about it, Quantumania still made over $500 million. Venom 2 made a pretty penny. Obviously, we've had hits and we've had misses. But why is it so much more prominent today that people are saying superhero fatigue, they're going away, there's going to be no more victories, they're all going downhill, MCU's going to fall apart, the DCU's going to die? Why? May I ask why? I go back and remember when Spider-Man 1 and X-Men were coming out, and then the next couple of years, Daredevil and Elektra, both of those, along with Catwoman, and a couple other comic book films that bombed. We were literally sitting there and people were saying, well, this is it. The end of superhero films, comic book films are dead. The combo of Superman Returns and Batman Begins, both being box office failures, was seen as the sign DC Comics is dead and they're probably going to go under. The failure of X-Men 3 and Spider-Man 3, along with Rise of the Silver Surfer, was seen as the oncoming death of Marvel. You had the other films out there. You had multiple Ghost Riders. You also had Constantine, for example. You had the film Push. You had Ang Lee's Hulk. You have Hancock. You had The Spirit. I mean, look, I'm probably forgetting a bunch of them, but superhero films were coming out 3 to 4 to 5 per year the entire time. And I remember people saying, oh, this is it. 2 in a row. It's over. It's dead. It's all over. We're just back to where we were. Except the only difference is Marvel Studios went about 30 projects without a single miss, according to Rotten Tomatoes. So they were seen as, well, unstoppable. While DC was constantly, half of their output was seen as bad. DC's continuing to announce films, slates, TV shows. Marvel, same thing. So, how are people convinced that the superhero genre and superhero films and superhero fatigue is real when literally it's the same pattern we've had since 1998? And I would say even before that, because, well, right before that, or right in 1998, superhero films were dead forever because of Batman and Robin. And somehow, Batman went on to recover and become, what is known as the Dark Knight. Again, please prove to me the superhero fatigue is real, because it's not. That's like saying, and before you bring up Westerns and say, yeah, Westerns died. Westerns are an entire genre. Comic book films and superhero films are not a genre. They fit into different genres, which is why you can have a Western comic book film like Jonah Hex.